Sit relaxed, with mindfulness at the base. Always recognize your base. It can be the breath, the body posture, or whatever you feel comfortable with and which causes mindfulness to arise more often. Remember that any meditation object that we use as the base must relate to body and mind, one of the four foundations of mindfulness. These are body, feeling, mind and Dhamma. Don't concentrate on the base alone, but be aware of the entire body and mind and six sense doors. We want to allow the body and mind to behave naturally without controlling, but with a good observer mind from the base. When the mind is at the base, it is detached from sensations and sees things as they are. At that moment there is no self, just the six sense doors, the mind and the five aggregates. Then the mind can see the six sense doors and the five aggregates working by their own nature, allowing the mind to enter vipassana meditation to see things the way they really are. Then attachment, self, or ego will decrease as a result. When we practice there is no us or self, just the six sense doors. If there is no self, there is no one searching for the outcome of the practice, no one attached to tranquility, happiness, or calmness, and no one trying to fix phenomena to be the way we want, just phenomena arising, existing, and passing away by themselves. Then we will clearly understand and accept the true nature of body and mind, causing the mind to become equanimous to all phenomena. The benefit of this practice is that we will be equanimous to contacts from the external world, seeing them just the way they are without being attached to suffering. This is because the external world is changing all the time and cannot be maintained in one state. Both the internal and external world are seen to be the same, constantly changing and following the rules of impermanence, suffering and no self, the three marks of existence. We are always experiencing the three marks of existence. It is inevitable. We can either suffer because of our attachment, or we can just see them the way they really are without attachment. Everyone, rich or poor, handsome or plain, whoever is attached to the five aggregates, whether from the past, future, inside or outside, must experience birth and rebirth, sickness, old age and death. This is the nature of the world. When we die, we travel from one realm to the next. Dying in Buddhism means changing or traveling from one world or realm to another. This reality shows that life is risky and dangerous. It can end at any time without notice. You never know which will be your last mind of this life, so we should practice with effort and persistence to always be open to whatever is happening in the present moment. Beings suffer because they don't understand and accept the three marks of existence. People are constantly driven by fear and desire, running after pleasure and trying to escape pain and control the body, mind, and the world to be the way they want them to be. But this is impossible because the reality is impermanence, suffering and no self, the three marks of existence. For instance, when we build a new house, we want the roof to always be intact, and the plumbing never to leak. Our children and grandchildren should always behave nicely, be polite and respectful. Our parents should always be healthy and never die, and the plants and flowers in our garden should always be healthy and beautiful and never die. But this is all impossible, because the true nature of the world is impermanence, suffering and no self. If we don't accept this, we will suffer from our attachment to trying to keep everything permanent and become depressed and angry. People search for answers on the internet and on social media, which only leads to further confusion. But if we train our mind with mindfulness and wisdom, whenever contacts that cause the mind to think impact the mind will see them just the way they are, without becoming attached to them, without aversion or attraction. The mind will also see our reaction to the contact, and even if desire or craving arises, the mind will see it just as it is, without becoming attached. The mind will then become stable and calm, and loving kindness can arise. We will care about how others feel because we understand that others experience the same things we do. If I have insulted someone, I can understand how they might react, as I would also do the same thing. If we have practiced with wisdom, when something potentially upsetting occurs, the mind will be able to remain stable and calm and see the phenomenon just the way it is, without reacting and without controlling. We suffer because we don't understand the true nature of the 5 aggregates of attachment. Today we will clarify exactly what the 5 aggregates are. Form is the first aggregate. Form means the body, which is made of the 4 elements, earth, water, wind and fire, or the 5 physical sense organs. The body's job is to be born, get sick, get old and die, as is the case with all form. It arises, is born, exists and deteriorates, gets sick, and passes away, dies. We use the 4 elements in the form of delicious and fragrant food and nourishment to maintain our body and make it strong and return them to the world as evil-smelling and disgusting waste. We think we are making a beautiful world, but in fact, humans are constantly destroying it. We observe the body through the 4 elements, the sense organs, and the body posture. This body that we now have is the consequence of the last action of our last life. The last thought of the last mind of the previous life created this body. Each body is different, even people who have the same parents, except for some types of twins. The body grows and changes as it becomes older because of 4 factors, which are action, mind, weather or temperature, and food. The other job of form is to trap the mind with external objects, causing us to chase and try to possess them. When our desire causes us to chase after some form or object and become attached to it, 3 defilements, the 3 poisons, greed, anger and delusion, control our mind to perform action. 3 of the aggregates are mental and not physical or form. They are feeling, perception and mental formation, thought. The first type of feeling is the way the body reacts to the contact at the 6 sense doors, happy or unhappy. The second type of feeling is the way the mind reacts to contact, happy, unhappy or neutral. Feeling is always arising in the mind, sometimes happy, unhappy, or neutral. Perception is remembering and recognizing and is also constantly arising in the mind. Perception is used in every action. When we talk, call someone's name, drive a car, wear clothes, take a shower, etc., we wouldn't know how to do anything without perception, as in Alzheimer's disease. Mental formation means, 1. Creating, or fabricating the future with thought, 2. Wholesome thoughts and 3. Unwholesome thoughts. Wholesome and unwholesome thoughts can't both arise in the mind at the same time. For instance, when we are overcome by emotion or confusion, we can't be objectively aware, and when we're objectively aware we can't be overcome by emotion or confusion. Consciousness is the 5th aggregate, and is traditionally divided into 3 types. The first is consciousness of the 5 physical sense doors. Consciousness of the 5 physical sense doors is being aware of the contact at the physical sense door. Mind consciousness is the second, being consciously aware of our thoughts. The mind itself is the 3rd type of consciousness. This consciousness is aware of all the 5 sense organs, whatever is contacting the sense door and causes us to become attached to sensation. The mind arises from the subconscious to perceive the contact at the sense door, and if we're not perceiving with mindfulness, it will stray and become attached to external sensations and objects, causing craving and clinging to arise to pursue and grasp, or reject or get away from, the sensation or object. This causes the mind to perform action, and the consequence of this action will accumulate in the subconscious, causing us to be reborn and suffer in samsara. Every time a mental state arises, if the mind becomes attached to it, it will become self or ego. This will cause like or dislike to arise and craving for action, which will control our mind without concern for the precepts or consequences of the action. These consequences will be stored in the subconscious and cause further suffering to arise. The mind of whoever doesn't listen to and practice Dhamma will always be attached to sensation or the three mental states, feeling, perception and mental formation, and crave for sensation and become self. This will cause them to become attached to emotions, depression, anxiety, and suffering. But whoever has a chance to listen to and practice Dhamma will have the tools to bring the mind out of this suffering, starting with the practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, or the middle path. The 4 foundations of mindfulness will cause right concentration, or knower mind, to arise. This knower mind has the quality of being a good observer. It is stable, watching from the base with impartiality, calm, soft, light, quick and suitable for vipassana meditation. At this moment the mind can see the true nature of the 5 aggregates, that they all follow the rules of the 3 marks of existence, impermanence, suffering, and no self. As a result, the mind isn't attached to feeling, like or dislike or craving, and this will cause the elimination of clinging, which causes ego to arise. When there is no clinging or ego, there will be no action and we will be free from attachment and accumulation of its consequences, which lead to future suffering. This is called vipassana meditation. When we study the 5 aggregates, we need to understand the mind and its function. Every time we sense something at our 6 sense organs, the mind will arise from the subconscious to perceive the object of the sense organs, which causes thinking to arise, followed by feeling, craving, and clinging and ending with action. The mind cannot arise alone, it must arise with form and one of the 3 mental states, feeling, perception, and mental formation. For instance, when we practice, sometimes the mind is at the eyes, ears, etc., or in one of the 3 mental states. Buddha says that the mind is like the seed of the tree. Whatever the mind is attached to, that will it become. If the mind is attached to the eye, it will become self when I see him. If the mind is attached to body, it will become me walking, or if the mind is attached to one of the 3 mental states, self or ego will arise and we will seek to control everything to be the way we like it, without the wisdom to understand that everything is impermanent, suffering and no self. Finally, we will suffer because we try to control things that are impermanent to be permanent, things that are suffering to be the causes of happiness, and things that are no self, which can't be controlled, to be self and controlled by us as we want them to be. By practicing vipassana meditation, the mind will become wiser and see that the body and mind or 5 aggregates are impermanent, suffering and no self. Then it will understand that the 5 aggregates from the past, future, outside and inside are impermanent and passing away. Wisdom will then cause the mind to be equanimous toward the 5 aggregates, no longer becoming excited or pleased by them, and will cease to search for sense pleasures. This causes craving to no longer cling to sensation and actions that can cause us to break the precepts, and because of no action there will be no accumulation of future suffering. If we keep observing the body and mind with vipassana, wisdom will clearly understand that this body and mind are not us, and whenever suffering arises in the body or mental state, it won't torment our mind, since the body and mind are not us and there is no one to suffer, just something arising, existing and passing away by its own cause. If we practice vipassana at every moment with effort, the mind will become freer, moment by moment, until we fully cultivate wisdom, and then enlightenment can arise at any time. Thank you for listening to this Dhamma talk. I wish you all success in walking the path to freedom from suffering and from attachment to the 5 aggregates. Trisikkha Insight Meditation Center, Plant City, Florida.